So one of you reached out and asked a really great question. We got $500,000, we're in our 40s, and ultimately we want to know, how should we put that money into real estate and other investments to have safety and security for retirement? Listen, whether you've got a lot of money or whether you got no money, today's video is going to bring you tremendous value because we got guest Stephen Michael Miller joining you today to break it all down for you.
Hey friends, Stephen Michael Miller here, and got another great question. It says, my husband and I have $500,000 to invest. We are both in our 40s. We want to retire in our 50s. What is a safe investment with a good return, like 5% or more, with limited risk? Great question. And I'm going to take this probably from a little bit of a different angle. There are a couple of things that really stood out to me on this question. You talked about safe investments, good returns, and limited risk, okay? And those are really interesting thought processes. And the reason why I'm going this angle is because I think it's really important to understand, first of all, when we're talking about investing, every investment has risk. The idea of limited risk is, that is very subjective. Different people will tell you different things in terms of risk. Oftentimes when people think of limited risk, they think of annuities. You know, an annuity has limited risk because you know you have a guaranteed return or a quote unquote guaranteed return, oftentimes based on a very long track record. You know, you've got your whole life insurance policies that oftentimes will pay you a 4 or 5% return that are guaranteed returns, you know, because they have had such these really long things. But I want to help you understand that, first of all, for most people, when they think that they have $500,000 to invest, or when they have $500,000 to invest, and they're thinking in terms of guaranteed returns, they oftentimes don't do the math, or they haven't done the math yet. And although that seems like a lot of money, the reality is what it translates to in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of what we're used to or how we're used to living, it doesn't really translate well. $500,000 in the bank, for most people, because having that much money, you may be earning really well. You may have a very great six-figure income. Maybe you're used to living on two different incomes that are combined together. So you have a very certain lifestyle. And all of a sudden, if you take that money that you've been earning, that you've been saving and putting away, and you're ready to invest it, what your mind is saying is, I want to be able to keep up my lifestyle. But what the reality and what the math will show is it's nearly impossible in terms of those safe type of investments. And I say safe with air quotes, okay? Because those type of investments aren't really safe. I mean, think about it for a moment. Our 401ks and IRAs are oftentimes what we would call safe investments. But I know what happens with people in their 401ks and IRAs, and I know for a fact that that is one of the least safe investments that you can have. What I mean by that is, you know the outcome. It is not going to be enough for retirement. So I don't know why people find safety in that, but that to me is one of the riskiest things that you can put your money in, is something where you know it's not going to help you achieve and reach your goals and your dreams. So, the IRAs, the 401ks, the life insurance, the annuities, as safe as they may sound and as a lot of financial advisors put them out to be, in my opinion, those are some of the riskiest things. Those are some of the worst things that you can put your money into, because you know that the return is not going to be enough to fund your dreams, to fund your kids' goals and dreams, to help fund your retirement the way that you actually want to do so. So I'm gonna leave those things on the side, and I'm gonna get into what I think most people were really looking for. They're looking for, what type of investments can I do that have a margin of safety, that have a decent margin of safety. See, this is what Warren Buffett talks about all the time. Warren Buffett talks about going in and doing investments that have this margin of safety. And margins of safety can be found in a number of different arenas. Margins of safety can be found in equity that you can find in companies or in real estate. Margins of safety sometimes are there in systems that are in place. They can be found in systems, margins of safety, but you can find them in other places as well. So I want to talk about investments that oftentimes have a margin of safety, but I also want to talk about investments that sometimes come up for us in different circumstances that are sometimes those those first mover advantage or front runners that can be really important to look at and jump into, or at least jump into learning about as fast as you possibly can. So I'm gonna talk about a couple of those different things right now. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is real estate and doing real estate the right way. You've got $500,000 to invest, and $500,000, if you're the really safe conservative type, you could go out and buy homes outright with that, right? And what I mean by that is you can buy homes with no mortgage attached, right? You can just purchase the home, all cash deal. If you are buying in some of the areas that we're buying in right now, you'll be able to find an average purchase price of probably $150,000. So that would allow you to get probably 3 properties, right, with a little bit left over for a buffer room. I mean, again, I'm talking to the conservative person here, the safe investment here, right? $150,000 home, 3 homes. They're each going to produce for you, if you own them, somewhere in the realm of $1,100 a month. Let's just say, okay, $1,100 per month. That $1,100 per month over 3 homes, that'll give you $3,300 per month. That's a decent return. That's actually a pretty good return on your investment right there. It's a little bit, let's see, that's a little bit under a 10% return. I'm thinking something like 8%-ish. I haven't done all the math in my head right now, but that's a really good return, right? It's over the 5% that you were looking for sure. Very conservative approach. These homes will produce for you, and they'll do their thing, especially if you're plugged into a system. And I'm not saying you have to use our teams or our systems, but we have a great system to use that will give you a really great return. If not, plug in and create your own power team. Find a responsible property manager that will take care of those properties for you, and you'll get a really good return on investment. And by really good, I mean really okay. You'll get an 5 to 8% return on your investment there. There are other things that you can do though outside of this. Obviously, this is just if you're buying homes outright. If you decide instead to leverage for these properties, then you could buy a whole lot more. You could spend roughly $40,000 per home out of pocket. $40,000 will help you get roughly 12 properties instead of the original 3. Those 12 properties, they'll produce a little bit, it'll be a little bit different because you don't own them outright, but you'll earn probably $400 a month, roughly, give or take a little bit, $400 a month in cash flow per home. 400 times 12, that's $4,800 per month, right? So you'll earn about $4,800 per month just on that. But here's the fun part about real estate is time is if you're doing it right, time is on your side. And you said that you've got 5 to 10 years, you're in your early 40s, you've got, you want to retire in your 50s, so you've got some time on your side. Over time, real estate always does this, right? It's a little cyclical, right? So it has some ups and downs. When you buy with a system or you buy the right way, it helps to offset a lot of this fluctuation so that you can just capitalize on that steady growth over time. And being able to capitalize on that steady growth allows you to turn that once $4,800 a month over the next 5 years. You could probably turn that into, $9,600, something like that. $9,600, and over the next 5 years, maybe double it again. So if you're willing to take 10 years, then you could easily have a residual income of $13,000, $15,000, somewhere in that range, that can really do some amazing things for your retirement and have your principal, that initial $500,000 investment, growing for you more and more and more. And so this is one really great way to do this. The second thing that I kind of mentioned in passing, or at the beginning of the video, was tapping into new technologies, doing new things. There's something out there right now that you've maybe heard of and maybe you haven't, but it's been the buzz in a lot of different technology type of companies. IBM, Google, and many others are talking right now about the blockchain. And what the blockchain is kind of like the internet 2.0, to put it in simple terms. It's a more trusted type of internet. It's a place where people can go to do different transactions that at one point, and still today, for a lot of us, we pay middlemen. If we want to buy a home, we pay a realtor, we pay a title company, we pay a mortgage broker to broker those deals because we have trust in them. But with this new blockchain technology, it's opening up a way for us to do those same transactions, and rather than paying 6% on a home, we can actually transact that home for maybe $1 or $2. It's changing the world of what we're doing right now, and it's still a new technology. This is a technology that Kris and I are getting very involved in right now, and it's something that it's worth sharing here, right? If you have $500,000 and you wanted to put that into blockchain technology, the first question you may ask is it safe? and that's because that's one of the first things here that was said, right? We want a safe investment with a good return with limited risk. Well, with new technologies and things, there are always risks. But I had a friend years ago who invested in plastic. This is when plastic was first coming out. So this is probably what was the mid 50s or early 60s or something like that, when plastic was just starting to really boom. And he invested in plastic, and it changed his world. Everyone else around him probably thought, what is this plastic stuff? We like metal and we like wood, and it was a little bit of a risk, yet it has ended up being one of the greatest risks that he's ever taken, and has paid him the very most money that he's ever made in any other investment. And this is one of the things this is how I'm looking at the blockchain technology right now, is it's opening up new opportunities. I'm seeing companies like I said before, IBM and Google and Deutsche Bank and so many others right now that are coming in and adopting these technologies, where the majority of the world right now, the average person, you and I, we're just barely starting to hear about some of these things. But this is where things are going. If you were to take that $500,000 and invest it in blockchain technologies. So I got my phone now, and I got my phone because I just wanted to do a little bit of math right here on the spot. And this is all, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give advice, no tax advice or anything like that. But I want to help you understand what some of the track record is on this already, because although it seems brand new to a lot of people, the blockchain technology has been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, when Bitcoin first came out, which was probably about 15 years ago or so, it's when a lot of this first started. And so now we've got this 15-year track record, maybe 9 years where it's really been utilized in this way, that we've got data and information and things to support what it is that we're talking about here. But I want to just run some really simple numbers, and I'll try to dumb some of these down just a little bit. But if you had $500,000, and let's just say that you were to invest all of that into blockchain technology, I mean, that same $500,000 could potentially earn you, a little, over $50,000 per month. I know that sounds crazy, but there are specific things that you can do to do that. As a matter of fact, right now, what's supporting the blockchain are these servers, and you can actually purchase these servers. And these servers, they have a price tag. When you purchase these servers get in and they help support what the blockchain is doing. They help support these transactions. They verify. They do what's called terahashing, and that terahashing gets paid. Right? So this machine goes to work for you. The machine gets paid to do this work that you then own. You own part of the blockchain, and because of that, they pay you. If you were to put $500,000 into the blockchain, it would produce probably a little bit more than that, but right around that $50,000 per month for you potentially, and potentially a whole lot more. I mean, I'm speaking a little bit in tongues here. I guess I'm not giving all the information because there is so much more behind this. But you're asking for good investments, and you're asking for things with limited risk. This is one of those things that a lot of people would probably call very, very risky. It's one of the things that I see as honestly probably a very, very limited risk. And it's one of those things where it's like it may be riskier not to get involved than it is to get involved. Kind of like plastic, kind of like the internet. When the internet first came out, most people didn't understand it, and so they stayed far from it. But the reality is today, everybody uses the internet. You're watching this via the internet right now. If you could go back to 1995 or 1996 and invest a small portion, and I'm not even saying take the whole $500,000, but if you could invest a small portion of that into the internet, how would that have paid you today? Or when cell phones first came out, you said, hey, take my backyard and put a cell phone tower, as much as you may not like to have it in your backyard. The reality is it would have paid you over and over and over and over, and it still would be paying you today. And this is kind of like that. This is an opportunity to get in and have that experience. So again, you're asking, you've got the money to invest, you're in your 40s, you want to retire in your 50s. What is a safe investment with a good return with limited risk? Real estate is absolutely a safe investment if you're doing it right. Great returns, limited risk, larger margin of safety. Blockchain technology, from what I'm seeing, the different countries that are adopting this technology right now, the massive companies that are implementing and adopting this technology right now, this is still in the beginning stages of it. So I would say if you want to learn more about this, contact us, contact our team. There's a link over here that you can go ahead and click on to get in contact with us to learn more about either our real estate or about blockchain technologies and what we're doing and how we're getting involved with it. We'd love to share that with you as well. So hopefully this helps. Everyone have a fantastic day. Go invest more. All right, so for you both, your couple in your 40s, looking to retire in your 50s, this video was for you. If you've got any other comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and put them in the comments below. If you'd like to learn how we can help you specifically, go ahead and click the link above. We also have a link down in the description below. Click on that, come and get some conversation with our team. We'll give you a specific game plan of what that could look like.